have, this is just basically acting like a drogue chute. We've got it on some bearing stuff so it can spin if it wants to without winding up the hose, to pinch off the hose. So I put the cone like close to the runway but not on the runway. And the idea is that we'll taxi out and I'll taxi straight until it's kind of like on the runway. And I can see that over my shoulder.
Cone is on the runway. I'm going to let it pull a little more to the center.
Get it straight, and I'll make a radio call that I'm going to go or something, then it gives you a chance to be like, oh, that's silly. There's something weird happening.
All right. That looks good to me.
We're ready.
Is it still back there?
Looks pretty cool. It's hanging probably 15 feet below the airplane.
And I'll take off, and I'll just fly the pattern and come back through, and you can like tell me that it looks like it's stable, something like that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go up to altitude, and I'll hit the cruise points and then the stall points and then come back.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it around. The question is whether or not the tube is touching the rudder.
The tube is clear of the rudder, just above it.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to go to altitude. Thank you.
So there's a fuse here is the idea. I'm using these 8L clamps to hold the tube down on the top of the vertical. Taped the tubing here to the leading edge, down, and then with the canopy closed, the idea is we'll have this relatively tight. One more 8L clamp here to secure the tube there, and it goes in through the back vent down the left side of the fuselage, and then ties into the pitot system there by the pilot's feet. This is just like vinyl tubing, like from the hardware store. And then this is the area of interest here. So this is the static port. So it's a piece of aluminum tubing with holes drilled perpendicularly through it. And that's what's actually going to measure the static. And then that signal is transferred through the tubing up over the tail, and then it's plumbed into the actual primary static source for the airplane. We've been flying a lot the last couple of days. We have a pretty good baseline for what the airplane has been doing with the existing static system. And this is going to give us a truth source to figure out what's actually going on. Is it a static problem or a pitot problem?
How you doing up there?
Doing good on the overhead now. My plan was to come back through in landing configuration and sort of do a practice approach. You can tell me how far from the fence.
It's pretty long, so when I come back through, I don't want to be super low. So when I'm coming back through, if you could like looks like you're going to clear, something like that, because the concern is getting it wrapped around the fence here, and
yeah,
that would be dynamic.
Jim suggested 100 feet over the fence.
Copy. So I'll do a practice approach in landing configuration, 100 feet over the fence, and if you could just give me height calls and let me know how that looks, then we'll commit for the second one.
Copy. I'm going to head down to the taxiway going to hangar 3.
Sounds good.
Okay, we're ready.
All right, I'm going to set up for downwind here. Going to throw the flaps out. I'm just going to use the numbers as an aim point rather than the end of the runway as an aim point. We'll see how that goes.
Copy.
Okay, just turning on the final now. Aircraft's configured with a plan to go around. Going around.
At its lowest point, it got about 5 feet from the runway.
Wow, that's cool. Did the cone end up on the center line of the runway, or was it over by you guys?
It was fairly centered.
Just worried about hitting your truck with it.
No, you'll be all right.
Okay, airplane's configured. Using the numbers for an aim point and 85 to 90 as approach speed.
Look good.
Thanks, sir.
So you can see it looks like sort of picked up some asphalt there when it was dragging on the ground. And we got some rub marks where it was dragging on the ground. But all in all, still intact, still spins. The tube's not even that dirty. Oh, cool! There's actual drag marks on the probe. That's cool. Tube's not that dirty. You can see like there's a little evidence here on this side where it was pulling. I don't know if that was you guys pulling it off, but it looks like it was sliding a little bit through the Adels, just a touch. But there's no damage to the rudder. You know, like it could have been whipping around and hitting the rudder. No damage there. So all that stuff looks good, and all the tape seems to have held. So cool. And meanwhile, 15 out of 18 mile an hour of the air. And I think the last couple knots is just because the airplane's light.